To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty and everlasting God, who presides over all things in heaven and earth, come and preside over these deliberations so that those that make the decision may be guided by your wisdom.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 13th regular voting session of Wilkes-Barre City Council. The city clerk call the roll.
Mr. Barrett?
Here.
Mr. Belishko?
Here.
Mr. Mirren?
Here.
Mrs. McClay?
Here.
Mr. Brooks?
Here.
Also in attendance is Mayor George Brown, Controller Tony Thomas, Administrator Charlie McCormick, Assistant City Attorney Maureen Collins, Assistant City Clerk Tracy Smith, and Administrative Assistant Lisa Sanfilippo. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's regular session of Council. Please turn off all cell phones. The following are examples of some important Council rules. They are not intended to be a complete list. Please adhere as closely as possible to the 5-minute speaker presentation time limit. No persons are allowed to address the Council from beyond the rail, except the speaker at the dais who has the floor. The chairperson shall preserve order and decorum and prevent attacks on personalities. The chairperson shall determine all points of order. No person except city officers or their representatives shall be permitted within the rail during any meeting without the express permission of Council. Council kindly asks that the public please vacate the building within 10 minutes after the meeting adjourns. And finally, when the members of administration are speaking, please use the microphone.
Okay, we have two items on pending legislation for this evening. One is related to mobile food facilities, or otherwise known as food trucks, to make sure that they're registered and inspected and paying their taxes and whatnot. And the other ordinance is related to registration of restaurants, that the licensing will be a calendar year, meaning if you got a license in June, it will be next June that you would relicense. Are there any public comments on pending legislation? Yes, Mr. Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I only have one question, so I thought maybe the time that I don't use I could carry over to a later time.
Yeah, he will.
Well, anyway, on this, I just wondered if you or somebody could elaborate. Sorry, I dropped a $100 bill. On the second ordinance, I was told that this has to do with the health department licensing the restaurants, correct?
Correct.
So I just wanted to get something straight. See, I'm always looking to determine exactly, because I'm a little bit perturbed about the health department and its so-called functions, as they say in French, raison d'etre, reason for its existence. I learned that at Penn, by the way. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just wondered, I'm getting to the point here, but the health department has jurisdiction over the licensing of the restaurants then, correct?
Correct.
And that they could suspend licenses. I don't know if this ordinance would allow it. Do they have it in their purview and their function to suspend licenses if there's a problem with the if there's a question of sanitary conditions or whatever? I don't suppose this has anything to do with that, or does it? It's just
This is about paying the licensing.
Huh?
This is about paying the licensing fee.
The fee.
Correct. This is for licensing, is what this
Well, licensing. Okay. Well, I just wondered. But when they so I just wanted to get it straight. So when this does allow them to license a new restaurant as well, right?
Correct.
And existing restaurants have to get renewal of licenses. See, I'm just finding this out. I just wondered. So they have to get their license renewal once a year or something, whatever, right? Okay, so that renewal is dependent upon assuming that they keep everything in order, conditions, sanitary, et cetera, right?
That's a different ordinance.
That's different?
This is related to...
This just makes it more consistent. All right, I was just wondering. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else like to speak on pending legislation, on the two items on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Just about the hours.
Yes, please. Yep. Are you James Inix?
I am.
Okay.
State your name for the record, sir.
Okay, last time I was here, you asked me to state my name for the record, but nobody else in this place did.
They all do.
Oh, James Stezianix. I was just wondering, at the work session you had last time, was there anything brought up about any amendments made on the hours of operation?
Do you want me to, is that your only question?
So, yeah, state all your questions and then we'll answer them at the end.
Well, I also have a statement.
Go ahead, that's fine.
Okay, but it's concerning the hours at like 2 o'clock in the morning. On February 4th, my truck was vandalized at 2:15 in the morning. The truck bed lock and the tailgate lock were broken and made off with a container filled with some of my fishing equipment. I called 911, the officer came out, and they made an incident report.
Sir, with all due respect, this is about comments about the pending legislation. So there's two things on the, you can come back and speak at the.
No, well, I have nothing, I was just about the hours.
Correct, yeah, so right now, we're talking about the pending legislation. So what's your comment on the legislation related to?
Well, the hours of operation.
Okay, you want to,
So the hours are still the same from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Currently, they have no hours. Some of them are working till 3, 4 a.m. in the morning.
I have nothing against these trucks or anything, but I feel that after 12 o'clock, you're looking for some bad actors out there, and I was just reading the statement of why I think there's bad actors out there.
Right, and I just want to let you know
Yeah.
that they are currently already open till past 2 o'clock. And as far as I'm aware, and I did check, there have been no issues with the food trucks that are already open past 2 o'clock currently.
Okay, can I
So
continue?
we're actually
or-
restricting them.
Can I continue, or what?
You have 5 minutes, sir.
But-
if it's related to the pending legislation.
Well,
If you're
it's
just making-
hours of operation,
Okay,
About food trucks.
about food trucks?
yeah.
All right, so you have a different opinion on what they should be?
Well, anything before midnight. On the 13th of February, police at 2 o'clock in the morning, they were all over the place on Ralph Street. And I don't know what they were looking for. They had these amazing searchlights. They even had the street blocked down on Penn Ave. I don't know how far down they had it blocked, but they were looking all over, and they were about an hour. And that's the reason why I don't think it's a good idea to be out there at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Got it,
End of case.
got it. Thank you, sir. Anyone else on pending legislation related to the two items on the agenda?
Yes, my name is Thomas Gagatek. I like to bring the attention, like with this regulation. I passed by some of these food trucks that are currently in operation now, and I don't see many people patronizing them, only on certain ones, maybe on the boulevard by Cole Street there, which they seem to be run pretty adequate. But some of them I've seen that I passed, let's say the ones on Cary Ave, they have a outhouse there, what do you call that thing? Portable.
Right?
A shed and a dumpster by them. There's no patrons. Sometimes they're there, but I can't see these people. And there's houses maybe, as Mike knows, maybe 150, 200 feet away. And if they're going to be there, like this gentleman says, until 2 o'clock in the morning, to me it breeds trouble. Being an old school Wilkes-Barre guy, right, as most of us are, the old motto is, if you're out after midnight, you're looking for trouble. So I don't know. And if this is going to be regulated by the health department, maybe we need an avenue of the health department just to regulate these food trucks if this is becoming an issue. Because all the restaurants that are under the regulation now, who are licensed and regulated by the health department and are checked on a regular basis, a brick and mortar type of operation, they close at regular times because they have employees that are working there. These food trucks are just the people that operate them, that run them, that bring them there, leave them there. And some of them I think are an eyesore. And I don't know if it's good for the city or not, and I'll bring up other issues that I put on my paper. And I think they need better regulation as what they are now. As you say, Tony, I said, we know it's new, but maybe somebody should be out there, maybe a team of council members, 2 or 3 people, to check them accordingly, even with the health department, to see what's really going on. But I mean, if you go by these places at 10, 11 o'clock at night, I know I stopped a few times coming from, let's see, the hospital when my wife is up there, but there's not many people there. I mean, why do they have to be there? And they're lit up, some of them are lit up pretty good. If they're lit up maybe too late, they might be annoying people. I mean, like you say, regulations could be changed and address that as it comes up, but how long does it take to address a problem? There's a lot of problems that happen in the city. It takes too long, and people don't know what the avenue, how to go, except maybe to come to the council meeting and stay your peace. And maybe some people are kind of reluctant. They're afraid to address people. Who knows? But I'm new at this myself.
It's okay.
And I like to that's my opinion on the food trucks. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion.
Thank you.
So I will comment on that. So right now, the food trucks are currently operating, and most of them have been operating since 2021 with no regulations. So that is what we are trying to put in place, is regulations. If you read through it, we put in there about the lights, we put in there about the music, we put in there about the tables without having a restroom. We tried to put in the things that would be a nuisance, so that, and like I said, if for some reason we need to go in and change the times, that is something that we can do at a later date, but at this point, it's just to get a regulation in place.
And a lot of these food trucks are operated by maybe people who like Spanish music or whatever they call it, Latino music, and not everybody likes it, and some of them are near houses where people...
It's been addressed in the new ordinance.
I mean, how long would it take to address a problem like this gentleman stated? There could be a problem, people are coming around, and they're out late, you know. Maybe it could be nipped in the bud if there was maybe a committee or somebody would be checking them regularly. And I think the health department's probably stressed enough now.
How many food trucks again was there?
17.
So,
Last time you were speaking, I think, excuse me, you seem to be very efficient for a new council person, by the way. You said there was 13 out of 17.
No, I said 17 last time.
17.
Or
I
was,
said there's 33 that are registered to operate day-to-day, and there are 17 currently operating in the
Yeah.
city.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, if I may follow up over here.
Oh, okay, Mike.
Those lights that you're saying on Cary Avenue, and I know exactly what you're talking about, it's in your traffic eye. When
Right in your eye.
Yep, that'll be addressed. That'll be addressed.
Good.
Pardon me, I'd like to also say something.
But
Excuse me, it's not a perfect ordinance, but at least we have something now.
to get
Before we didn't
things
have
started,
anything. It was
yes, I
just
understand that.
Right, so at least we have something and things can be added, but like at least we're working
Yeah.
on it.
I mean, you council members are taxing, doing what you could do for everything else, but now this is a new avenue. And since the food trucks are going to be regulated as they are, and the only information I got about this, about the health department regulating the restaurants and the food, is on the back of the calendar. And are those people going to get help doing it? And they're shorthanded. And I forget the person's name I talked to once before with the health department. He's a real nice guy.
Hank?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sir. You're in the back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hello, council members. I'm Anthony Farah. I just wanted to say that the food truck is a non-issue. These ordinances crack down on small business owners, and it's making it more difficult for people to start a business. Rent is extremely expensive, and it's hard to start a brick-and-mortar store, so people resort to these food trucks, and putting an ordinance makes it more difficult for them to operate. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on pending legislation? Sir, you can come back at public discussion. Sir, please, we have to ruin decorum. Anyone else on pending legislation? All right, thank you.
Chairman, before we vote,
Yes, sir.
I didn't have the opportunity, I wasn't here for the work session, I apologize for missing that, but a couple comments that I'd like to make. First of all, thank you for all the work you've done. I know it's not easy putting these together. I know firsthand it's not. However, just my perspective, and it's only mine, I spent 28 years with the police. I know what it's like out there after midnight. A lot of things go on. I'm not saying that it's the fault of the food trucks, but it is a different environment. Some of us, I don't like to be out there after midnight. I didn't like being out there after midnight when they carried a gun. So anyway, that's another story. But I have a little bit of an issue with the time. As you may know, midnight, okay, I'm comfortable with that. After midnight, there are places, if you need food that bad, you can go to a mini mart or whatever that has security and everything else in place and is open. The other issue, and I just got a call on this today, and it's from a health department employee, and maybe it's something that you might be aware of and maybe is not in the ordinance, but it has to do with generators, power, and food storage. And the way I take it is if you're storing food in these food trucks, you leave the food trucks in place, the food truck is there, maybe it's on private property or wherever, it's got a generator running, and maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And I doubt that most of the food truck vendors are taking the food out of there at the end of the day and putting it someplace where there's permanent refrigeration. There's a concern about that, whether there's permanent refrigeration in these units to ensure that the food that is being served is safe. And I don't think we're going to see the health department out there at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning either. Unless there's an emergency or something like that, they're not going to be going around routinely inspecting. There's 17 of them now.
17.
And that number is growing. It's grown every year, and it probably will continue to grow. I think it's great that we're doing this, but I think that there are some unanswered questions. The time is an issue for me, but I'm 1 of 5. The other issue with the permanent electrical hookup to these that are storing food in them should not be reliant on some extension cord and a generator someplace. And then you don't want generators running in your neighborhood on Cary Avenue. You don't need 5 or 6 generators running down there either. So permanent hookup to a 110 volt power source someplace if you're not removing the food at the end of each day, and I don't suspect that happens, and moving into someplace that is permanent. So that might be something that we might need to discuss a little bit further with the health department to ensure that. I didn't see it in here. Maybe it is in here someplace. I might have missed it.
Yeah, I don't see it in there, but Hank actually did that section. We didn't put anything in there on that section on what the health department's duties are. So that came from either what they currently already have in place or what he feels.
Yeah, that probably follows through with
Yeah,
the
we didn't-
licensing itself.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to do with that. That
This
was
is a
Hank who
first-hand
put that in
call from the
place.
health inspector, and I can tell you who it is later. I don't
Yeah.
want to bring it up now, but that concern about food safety. A generator, according to this inspector, is probably not the safest way to do it.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I mean,
Unless
I
you're
would think
removing the
that-
food and putting it
Yeah.
someplace, you're taking it with you at 2 o'clock, or whether it's midnight, or whatever time you close up, and putting it someplace where there's permanent refrigeration, rather than an extension cord and a generator sitting out 50
Yeah,
feet away.
I mean, I'll reach out to Hank and see. I would think that would be part of their health inspection
I would
part.
think.
I mean,
Get the
I would
license.
think,
Or we don't
yeah.
have it in here, so maybe it's.
Yeah, I don't
you
think
need
he
to be
put,
added.
yeah, but I will ask him.
Okay, all right. And that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
sir.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments from council? Good, okay. Moving on.
Okay, so we're going to vote on the 2 ordinances before council. The first one is filed at council number 1, which is the mobile food facility ordinance for the food trucks. So we need a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second?
Motion by Mr. Mirren, second by Mrs. McClay. Mr. Barrett,
No, for the reasons previously stated.
Mr. Belishko.
No.
Mr. Mirren,
Yes.
Mrs. McClay.
Yes.
Mr. Brooks.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Second is filed at council number 2, which is the ordinance for the fee proration. Second and final reading. We need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Barrett,
A second?
second by Mr. Belishko. Mr. Barrett,
Yes.
Mr. Belishko.
Yes.
Mr. Mirren. Mr. Mirren,
Yes.
Mrs. McClay.
Yes.
Mr. Brooks.
Yes. Council presentations, Councilman Belishko,
Nothing more since Tuesday.
Councilman Barrett.
Just something new, 2 small couches mysteriously appeared on the corner of Trethway and George Avenue. Again, it goes back to people thinking that somebody else wants their dirty old couches and furniture, and they just throw it out on the corner. So if we could have somebody take, I have no idea where they came from, but they're sitting right on the corner. If we could have somebody take a look at that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Marin.
Also have just thank DPW for fixing the potholes on North Main Street. They were pretty big, and I had a couple calls with some flat tires, and they got them fixed, and I want to thank them, and Lisa as well for helping me out with them as well. That's it.
Councilman McClay.
Yep, so I have a few things. we going to get a list of roads to be paved again this year? I know last year we got it around this time. Are we going to be paving roads? Good. And then, I went blank. Oh, you going to be walking the streets again? Because I have a few streets I would love to add in.
We were waiting for the nice weather, so
Okay.
Mr. Brooks will be next. Okay,
I have a few as well.
Mine's been waiting since
So we
fall.
can jump over.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm second.
We'll let him know.
Tony's first.
to answer your question, yeah, we will play, the ones that we didn't get, like we got Mr. Wilkes-Barre, then we got Mr. Barrett. So we'll get Mr. Brooks, and then we'll go to Mr. Arrington.
Okay, perfect. And then I just kind of wanted to make a small statement on the food truck. I do appreciate everybody's support. I just wanted the residents to know that a food truck cannot come onto a city street and operate. If they come out in front of your home on a city street, please call the police. If it's during the day, call the health department. This ordinance is not allowing them to just pull up in front of your house and operate. This ordinance was put in place so that we can regulate their taxes, make sure that they're paying their taxes, and regulate the noise, the lights, all of that stuff that we can, as well as making sure they have restrooms. A lot of them do have picnic tables and no restrooms, which are required. So if anybody has any issues or concerns, you can still obviously reach out to me, but I just wanted to, a lot of those main points got overlooked by a lot of the hours. So that is what the main reason we did this ordinance for. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And for my comments, I'm glad to see that there are, and you'll like this, Mr. Troy, brand-new trees planted on Northampton Street. I'm also happy to see that the library and an organization called Neighborhood Forest are giving out free trees to children so they can plant them in their backyard to teach them about environmentalism and the importance of having a tree. And my third comment is I was really pleased to see an article in the newspaper about the Wilkes-Barre tax base being increased citywide by $2.8 million, taking us up to $1.38 billion. But there is a warning, or at least a concern that I have, that there is a loss in assessed value of the tax base, and it is downtown. We have lost $14 million in value of our tax base with downtown, but when you overall the city, we are up by 2.8, and that's really good because we have strong residential change of tax properties. All right, public discussion. My glasses. Anthony Bonavina.
Mr. George.
Please state your name for the record.
Anthony Bonavina, 89 St. Clair Street. I've come to you 6 months ago and brought this up, and George knows, I've been down here a lot, about the speeding on it on St. Clair Street, St. Clair. Can't slow them down. I've asked for stop signs to be put in. They tell me I'm impeding traffic, I'm slowing traffic down, but you get out on the main drag, you've got stop signs all the way down, so they cut in and they blow through. And
They put it now.
this young lady, I believe one of them, this one, she knows it. She's walked the street. She's seen it. And they do 50 miles an hour. It's supposed to be 25.
Yeah.
We have kids down there, and I told you before, hell's gonna break loose. One of those kids get killed or maimed because they do not slow down at all. I don't know what you guys are gonna do about it, but something's gotta be done. Either that or I'm gonna put wood out in the street, I'll slow them down. You'll be taking me to jail, but I can't take it, I can't. I mean, they're not my children, I'm worried about the other kids. And I do have children that play in the street. They do go outside, they're not inside playing on a Nintendo. But that, and then the second one, the garbage and the recycling. Why can't we pick the recycling up first? Because it blows all over this goddamn city before they get back after doing the garbage. So if you pick the recycling up, you have less to pick up in the streets. I have pictures on my phone if you want to see it from the last storm. All the way down the road.
Nope, I see it all over Wilkes-Barre.
That's what I'm saying. So why can't we reverse it? I don't see there's a problem with drop-offs. I mean, they run them all day long. So why can't they reverse them?
Are you done?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just asking. I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
My thoughts on it is people should bundle up their paper like I do. You just tie it all up.
You could tie it up, you put it in the cans they give you, the shit blows over, blows down the street. No,
So-
no.
That's what.
I mean, and the guys don't pick it up. I mean, the
we're not-
stuff's on the street, they just, okay, and they keep walking. I mean, I used to live at Harvey's Lake. I was always a Harvey's Lake person. I come in town, that's clean out there. I want it clean in here where I live.
I agree.
I want it slowed down to where I live. I don't see why we can't put stop signs in there. Either that or make it a one-way.
Have you been to traffic committee about the stop signs?
What have I been to, Mr. George?
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, first,
Well, I mean, he knows, he's been with,
we don't have a back and forth, so
He sent me
we
over.
just want to wait for you. So,
Well, he sent me the Sheridan, Jamie Sheridan and everything else. He was supposed to take care of it. He got a bump up or whatever, new job. I'm nowhere. I'm still standing here waiting for somebody to answer these questions or take care of these problems. It just doesn't happen.
Got it. Are you done with your comments now?
Sure.
Okay. That's right.
Oh, I thought you were going to sing to me.
Good to see you again. Couple of things. Let's go back to the recyclables.
Okay.
Today was my pickup day. They picked up my recyclables before they picked up my garbage. Okay, so I don't know.
Not in our area.
Okay, but no, let me.
Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Sure.
So they did pick up mine first, the recyclables. Okay, I don't know what routes, how they pick them up. I can find out, okay? I think that one thing that happens too is people overstack some of the barrels.
Oh, I get it.
And other things, and they blow out. And that's happening, and that's just human nature to do that, okay? So I can't explain that. But I do know today when I stopped home for lunchtime, my recyclables were gone, my 2 bags were still there. But I can check on that. But the other thing about the stop sign, going to the traffic committee, the answer may be, it might have been, stop signs don't impede speeding, okay?
Well, that's what your fire chief said, remember?
Okay, so that was the traffic committee. The other person, the only other, and I'm not putting council on notice here. Mr. Belisco knows this better than anybody. He's put more stop signs in South Wilkes-Barre than I've ever seen
Don't
in
make
my...
it that, don't make it like that.
You put at least 6. Mike, I put the other 6. Okay?
Yeah, you put 'em on
When I was
Plymouth
on
Town.
council, anyway, a council can put a stop sign up temporarily, and they'll have the red lights on it and so forth to see if that makes a difference. I'm not telling council what to do, believe me. I don't put them up, okay? Traffic committee does, but they're going to say, like I said, it doesn't impede speeding, like you said, like you heard from the chief. I would say, that'd be something that council may want to discuss about putting a temporary stop sign up in that area, okay? And then we can go from there, see if it makes a difference.
Yeah, because there's 2 streets.
Yeah.
Beatty and, I don't know what the hell the name of the other one is up
And
there.
please, council, don't think I'm putting this on your back, but I don't have a way of putting it up. You can put one up temporarily, meaning council. So maybe that's something that council may decide to do after listening to you, and then that's something that can be on a temporary basis with those red flashing lights.
Right. I understand it.
I know, you and I talked about this.
I get it. I mean, it's years. I've been doing this for years trying to get this. It just,
But folks,
They turn
I
in
don't
it-
think I'm not
No, that's fine. Who's
putting it on your shoulders, but
Mine.
it's the only other way of doing it.
It's Miners Mills, right?
right. Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, they come down past the firehouse.
We don't go back and forth. Sir, stop, sorry. Is something you want to do? Is that something we can do now, Ms. Clerk? Could we make
I think we'd have to,
pass something, or do we have to put that on the agenda for the next meeting?
probably have to do it for the
Yeah,
next.
I mean,
All right.
and I'm not opposed to, and
Okay.
I would have to look because I think the best would probably be at Beatty Street, which seems to be like the middle.
Well,
I mean,
you have Beatty and then you have the other one down there.
Yeah,
towards
I mean,
the
obviously, we don't want
But
to put up
They
a
come
bunch of
down,
them.
they turn in by the creek right there and
That's why I'm
they're
thinking-
just full bore.
That's why I think Beatty Street might be the best place to put one stop sign. because there is already a stop sign if you're on BD going to St. Clair, and the same thing, all the other ones have one going onto that street.
Right.
So we can put that on to next
Yeah.
agenda.
All right, we'll
Okay.
put it on the agenda, we'll test it out. Thank you for this.
Wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, a quick comment.
Thank you. Yes.
Now, this is not a unique problem to Beatty Street or
No.
anywhere else in the city. It's a problem across the Commonwealth. And it's a very simple reason. Just coming from the police perspective, it's very difficult to enforce speeding violations on city streets. And the reason being, this Commonwealth, Pennsylvania, is the only state, the only Commonwealth in the whole country that does not allow municipal police to use radar. Out of 50, we are the only one, and it's been the Pennsylvania Chiefs and the Pennsylvania Municipal League and everybody else are trying to get this passed, and every year it comes up, and every year it dies because legislators feel that it's going to be used as a revenue tool. No, it's a safety tool. In a school zone, in streets such as yours, North Washington Street, wherever it may be, it's very difficult to enforce speeding with the limited resources that police are allowed to use, municipal police. If they're able to use radar,
They have radar. You guys
they cannot use cannot use.
Or please,
No.
please.
I'm speaking, and I know firsthand, okay?
Free-for-all.
Pennsylvania municipal police cannot legally use radar to write citations. They can use it for awareness programs or whatever they want to use it for. They cannot cite you using radar. State police, yes. Municipal police, no. The only state or Commonwealth in this country that happens. And so for somebody who's coming down your street, it would be very easy for a police officer to sit alongside the street, point a radar gun down the street and see somebody coming down 20 miles an hour with the speed limit and just pull them over. That doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's very difficult to enforce unless you're following somebody or you have some sort of speed timing device and you get in your car and you chase somebody down the street, making a bad situation even worse. So if you want to talk to anybody, talk to your state legislators, your state representatives, say, we need radar for municipal police. It has to happen. I mean, it's 2025, and we're still fighting this very same battle we've been fighting for 15 years.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments from council?
If I may.
Yes, Mr. Bush.
I have been in front of the traffic committee countless numbers for different things, stop signs, as the mayor brought up, over different items, and mainly it's speeding on streets. That's always been my pet peeve, as it is yours. Stop signs are illegal to put up for speeding reasons. Speeding reasons. That's a state law, I believe. But the traffic committee, they could do other things. Children at play signs.
They gave me them already.
Okay. And you say it's 25 mile an hour speed limit.
Until Sam gets up here.
I know.
But I believe
It's not a
they
back and
meet
forth.
the last Wednesday of the month, Lise? Thursday, like 11 or 11:30, right? Yeah, yeah. I'd suggest you maybe bring it up to them, maybe they have an idea. As well as Ms. McClay's idea, or the mayor's idea of putting up a temporary stop sign.
That's good.
I will tell you, though, I was on the traffic committee, and PennDOT does require that we all took a course that you cannot put up a stop sign for speeding. It is a course that we were required to
Illegal.
take. So I don't want to defend our traffic committee as much as they would love to have more stop signs up as well. You're not allowed to do it for speeding purposes.
So later, you can talk to her after the meeting.
If you want, or call me.
Mr. Burden?
Oh, you're gonna love me.
Well, we always do. Welcome. Nice to see you.
You too. Jim Burden, 58 Taft Street, Wilkes-Barre. Well, you opened up the can of worms that I was opening up anyway. Mine's about traffic, about on Meade Street, school zone. You guys, they come down there, not 50 miles an hour, 70. I tried to stop them, tried to tell them, hey guys, school zone, how about slowing it down? You know what they tell me? Thank you.
Same thing, yeah.
That's exactly what they tell me, right? And I try to tell them, hey, you're gonna hit one of these kids because they come out of Taft Street, they cross over the street, they don't care, they come flying right through. They run right at Rose Lane, the stop sign at Rose Lane, they run right through that stop sign, and they go right down the hill, on the hill in Meade, they run right through that stop sign, they back-to-back stop signs, boom, boom, right through them, going anywhere from 70, 80 miles an hour. Don't stop. There's, like they said, a stop sign there with a reflector on it. I'll sit on my tailgate with the stop sign because I do the crossing guard, and I'll sit there and I'll go like this with my stop sign. And I'll say, yo, idiot, stop. And I'll tell them, stop. And I'll get up, and because I'll stand, because I know the ones that are coming down, right? I spoke to the mayor, and I told the mayor, I says, we need something. He had the police come up, and they parked on Rose Lane, facing up, right, on the downside, and the cruiser sat there, and I walked over to him, and I says, why are you sitting this way? He says, this way we could deter them. I says, they're gonna stop, and then when you go, tomorrow, they're gonna fly right back through it again. They don't pay attention to nobody, they don't care about anybody, right? They got Jersey license plates on their car, they got Florida license plates on it, New York license plates on it, Pennsylvania license plates on it, right? And I'm not being a smart ass. But when you try to talk to them, right, they don't speak English, half of them, right? And then you try to tell them, read the stop sign, right? And they don't speak English to you, right? And I say, well, if you can't speak English, you probably don't have a driver's license, you know? So, you know, and you go down Meade Street, and you don't see one sign that says school zone, children at play, or anything. So please, that's all I have, you know. And one other, and then on the bottom of Opal Lane and Taft, there used to be a sign, or not a sign, but a mirror, that when you're coming down Opal Lane, on the Taft Street, you'd be able to see the vehicles.
Right.
It's missing now. Okay? If we can please get one, because my wife almost got hit again today. That's one of the other reasons why I'm here. But, and if we can have that made, Opal Lane made one way coming from Hillside to Taft Street, one way going down, I'd like to, you know, see that, because they'll come off of Meade Street on the Taft and spin around the corner and shoot up towards Hillside just to, you know, save a couple feet, and you're butting nose to nose with them, okay? And that's about all. If anybody has anything to add to that, and, you know, traffic.
I do. My daughter she goes to Heights Elementary, and I agree, traffic does need to be slowed down due to the influx of buses since they combined schools, and same at GAR. There's people are flying through stop signs, and something needs to happen there. And if you want to give me a call tomorrow, maybe you and I could have a conversation about it. Okay?
My conversation isn't the politest.
That's okay. I got thick skin.
And you should know that by now.
Yeah, it's good though. But no, I agree. My daughter, she goes there, and it does. People are flying all around those neighborhoods, and crosswalks need to be updated. So there's a lot of things that need to be done there.
And the trees, you know, planting trees on East Northampton Street. I don't know whose bright idea that was. I don't think that was smart, because if you walk up and down East Northampton Street, the sidewalks are buckled, you know, from the trees, right? People are spray painting their sidewalks, and if they go to replace their sidewalks, they get told about it, because they don't belong to the people. They belong to the city.
Mr. Burden. You're over your 5 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Hey,
thank you.
Oh, thank you. But everybody else could go over there 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Don't start with me, Tony.
All right. Anthony Farah, how are you, sir?
Pretty good.
Guess they gave up.
Thank you, Council. I hope you have a happy St. Patrick's Day this coming. My name's Anthony Farah.
This must be the Irish side.
Yeah, I see all the green there. It just brings back good memories of this past weekend. Anyway, there was a homeless encampment sweep this very morning in Kirby Park.
Sir. Hey, gentlemen, shh. You can go out in the hallway, please. Sorry, we're taking away from him. Thanks. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Thanks. There was a homeless encampment sweep this morning in Kirby Park. I'm holding a notice here that was posted on the trees out there in Kirby Park. These people had 1 or 2 days notice that the encampment sweep was going to resume. It was originally, they were given 3 days notice for a March 6th sweep. That was thankfully postponed because of the flooding of the Susquehanna River had flooded the encampment, and the Public Works people had determined it was unsafe to do so. So that gave the people, concerned citizens and I, able to help these homeless people move their important belongings out of Kirby Park. It's still winter, regardless of how cold it is or warm it is outside, and these people don't have anywhere else to go. But we helped them escape because the excavators and dump trucks were coming this morning. You know, they left with what they could. I mean, if a person establishes residency in apartments and they go through the eviction process, they get 30 days to leave the premises. These people are given 3 to 2 days. This is inhumane. And, you know, throughout the past year and a half, I've seen tents being demolished, blown up, and the genocide that's happening in Gaza. And now that I look in my own backyard, I see the same things happening here. And this needs to end. I'd like to request a hold on homeless encampment sweeps indefinitely. This is not how we help these people, by just showing them, you know, links to different pages or phones. They don't have phones to call a lot of these services. And, you know, I would like to see the city release the amount of funds that they spent on these private contractors to go into Kirby Park and demolish these encampments that people have lived. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments? Any comments? No. Okay. April Fowler.
Hi, Council, Mayor. I'm also here on the homeless suite situation. The sight of homeless encampments has become increasingly common. This is a visible reminder of systemic failures that contribute to homelessness. In response, many local governments, such as yourself, resort to sweeps. These sweeps are not only inhumane, but also a misguided way to addressing a much bigger social issue. Homeless encampment sweeps are often justified under the guise of public safety, park beautification, and health concerns. The reality of it is, sweeps cause significant harm to an already vulnerable individual. People living in encampments don't have other alternatives. Sweeps do not provide them with housing or support, but displaces them further, exacerbating their already precarious situations. For many, these sweeps cause a loss of community, safety, and stability. Their belongings are often discarded or bulldozed, such as today. Items such as IDs and medicines and personal mementos, this loss complicates the challenges they already face, making it even more difficult for them to access services to rebuild their lives. Homelessness isn't merely a matter of choosing to live outside. It's caused by a lack of affordable housing, a lack of mental health services, and a failure of social safety nets. Instead of fixing an underlying issue, sweeps criminalize poverty and reinforce social stigmas around homelessness. This continuous cycle of marginalizing a population is pushing them further into the shadows rather than providing them with adequate support they need to reintegrate back into society. The current approach to homelessness by encampment sweeps is a reflection of the city, a city that puts aesthetics and public order over human dignity and compassion. In conclusion, sweeps fail to address the root causes of homelessness. Instead, they perpetuate an endless, senseless cycle on an already vulnerable population. And I would like to ask the council to put an end to these inhumane, demoralizing actions against our fellow neighbors.
Thank you. Any comments? Angel Mathis?
Angel Mathis, Wilkes-Barre. I have 2 items on my thing. The first thing is with the rental, the occupancy rental properties. The main reason I asked this question is I would like to know, one, how many rental occupancy permits are actually issued annually? And with that, also, is there an increase? Because it's like I see many residences that's changed from a single house to maybe a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom. And what actually brought this to my attention is the transformation of the Old South Oosterhout Library, where when you go past it, you see 9 meters. People are already starting to move in. So that was one thing that I don't understand. How could they change that from 2-bedroom, from 2 or 3 units to like 8 units? But that's a question for code enforcement. I do know that. And, but the other thing that I see, that there are a lot of transition houses. I don't know whether the city is aware that they transition, but every 3 to 6 months, you see new families moving, showing up, old families disappearing. And like I said, I just want to know the stats, because it's a lot of, I'm firm about my whole housing view. That one, the housing that we have in the city, a lot of it, as far as rental units, especially on South Franklin Street, is neither adequate or affordable. And apparently, I'm working with Eddie Day Pashinsky with some of the issues that I've brought up here. But that's the one thing that I really would like to know is the status of rental occupancy permits. Are they increasing? Are they staying the same? How do you know whether there's a rental property when there are many people that just pop up in populations in areas that they weren't before? The second thing is the double parking, the parking in lanes, and the parking wherever you want to park. I'll repeat that.
Yes.
Okay, I said the double parking, the parking in traffic lanes, and the parking wherever you want. It just seems that, I'm just assuming that we have a large population, since Shapiro did make it available for people who had their licenses revoked to get in line to get a driver's license again. I suspect that we have a large population driving without licenses, because they will stop anywhere, hop out of their car, whether there's parking or not. My only concern is this happens a lot on Stanton Street, not the upper part, but the lower part going towards Empire. It happens on Empire. It happens basically on a lot of the two traffic lane streets, where there's no parking on one side and there's parking on the other. They just jump out of their car and leave it wherever. So, can something be done to make people know that if there's only parking on one side of the street, that's not an invitation to actually park your car, get out of it, and leave it? That's all I have.
Parking seems to be, and speeding and stop signs or lack thereof, a perennial problem that we do have in Wilkes-Barre. I see where I live on Ross Street, same thing, no parking one side, and college kids just park on the other side all the time. And then another thing that bothers me a lot is, you said double parking, where people will park and they'll turn on their flashers and like run into a store. And why are you doing that? It is a very frustrating thing of the lack of personal responsibility that people have to their fellow citizens. I get it, I don't understand it. It's education, it's teaching our children how to drive properly the right way, and boy, it just, yeah, it's a tough thing, and we're all very frustrated about it. Where I live, you know where I live, There has been multiple accidents. The mayor's sister was in an accident at Ross and South River where people fly down South River so fast because they're coming off of the part where the River Common is, and then it narrows, but they never slow down. They just go right down to Academy Street. It's stuff that we just have to work on and get people to be on the same sheet of music.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Yes.
Angel,
Comment.
Angel, that's one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
People pulling up and just parking, and they go in the house, and they're in the house for the night.
Yeah.
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 That drives me crazy. Like, on one small street near my house, there would be 3 different locations consistently that they just park on illegally on the one side, go in the house. Drives me nuts, but I know what you're saying. But I wish parking enforcement worked late at night.
Yeah.
That would correct a lot of that.
There's no back and
Maybe we
forth.
need a grant for that.
Let me,
Stan, you wanted to say, did you say, you guys?
Oh, no.
No comment, no comments? All right, good. Tom Gallagher? Yes, Tom, come on up.
Okay, got more to say. A lot of this here issue, it seems to be.
This is Mike's.
I'm sorry, my name is Tommy Gagatek again, but a lot of these issues are going back and forth. A lot of it relates to people just don't know the rules and regulations. A lot of new people coming from out of town, they can't speak the language or whatever, they don't understand. And I remember, I got the new calendar here. I was trying to find some of the things I had from the city years back. Used to have a list of things that you could do and couldn't do. One of them relates back to Tony George, I think he issued at that time when he was the mayor. But so people know regulations about putting out their trash and different things. The time to do it, a lot of times, as you know, you're driving by the city, supposed to put it out early in the morning before 7, it's out in the afternoon, the day before, stuff like this. And on a windy day, it's blowing down the street.
Right.
They don't know. And then a lot of people I see in different areas, they don't know the regulation. You're supposed to have your containers in the back of the property, not on the front sidewalk or next to your front porch as an eyesore. But like you say, how many people could you talk to? They don't know, or they'll give you the attitude, whatever. But that's just one issue. But I have other things that I want to talk about besides yet. One thing I saw was the mayors had the program with the 4 mayors together on the TV the other day. It was very interesting. I enjoyed that. But one thing I saw the other day on the TV, they're also talking about the city of Hazleton. They have these camera systems. They had $200,000 they spent. And they got pick up sound of loud noises such as gunshots, which we had one last week in the area by one of our supermarkets, the only one. And we had them in the Wilkes-Barre at one time all over, and apparently half of them didn't work. About a year or 2 later, and then you have anybody to monitor them. But I don't know, do they still work? Do we still have them? Whatever. They pay a lot of money for them. But the city of Hazleton has a new system they put in, and I guess they got some money or funding from the state somehow. So that was just one thing I mentioned. But these recycling containers, that's probably the problem. A lot of people didn't know you could pick them up if you need them. City Hall. Some people put bags out there, which they won't pick up, clear bags with their cans and bottles in it, and they leave them later. They don't pick them up because they're not under the regulations. And I have a couple of things written down. I mentioned that about Hazleton, and the e-bikes is another thing that really irritates me among the things that we see happening. Other than people park on the wrong side of the street, they stop their car whenever they feel like, put on their 4-way flashers, they give you dirty looks, whatever you gotta do. They just don't understand. Then you look at them, you know, what's going on. But these e-bikes are something. I'm going down South Main Street the other day, late in the afternoon, by 5 o'clock, 5:30. Here's somebody coming down an e-bike, no helmet, which I guess they don't need a helmet, no license plate, going down the middle of the road, maybe about 40, 50 miles an hour. Suppose he hits your car, and you hit them, and you get hurt. And I'm a victim myself. Somebody went through a stop sign, high rate of speed, hit me, and I'm handicapped since then. 8 years ago, I'm lucky I'm alive. I can experience that. But some of these things should be corrected. Like, if these people are going down the street, I had one time about 2 years ago, I was headed up to the gym, the Odyssey, which I'm a member a long time, and the guys are right in front of him on an e-bike, and he said some nasty things to me. He got off the bike, I locked my doors, and he started banging on my car. I mean,
There should be signs maybe, no e-bikes. Like we used to have, we're talking about cruising a couple years back, cruise out to Harvey's Lake, whatever. That was the old place to go. But we had signs somewhere still existing, I think. No cruising so many times past a certain amount. How about no e-bikes, stuff like this. I'm sure they don't have insurance. And if you hit them, whose problem is it? Or they hit you, they hit your car. I had somebody hit my car last winter. He went through a stop sign. He couldn't speak English. He had no license plate on the car. He banged my car. I looked. He started crying, a young guy. No license. You have license? He didn't even speak English. He got in his car and took off. I probably have a picture of it on my phone. But anyway, that's just one of the other problems. But I'm thinking about, my time is just about up. I'm sorry. I addressed what I had on my mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
It seems to me that this city, administration, us, and the residents need to have a huge conversation about this, to figure this out in educational campaigns. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Excuse me, what's your first name?
Tom.
I appreciate you bringing up the article about Hazleton because it's funny. We're also looking at a system. We're looking at one called Spot Shotter, but we're comparing Spot Shotter to what Hazleton has. Mayor Kusat's a good friend of mine, and we work together in harmony. So we're comparing what his system does to compare it to the new system we're looking at. And then we're going to see what's the best bang for our buck. We're looking at installing a very similar process, okay? And we just want to make sure that when we buy it, it's the best system for our money. So it's something that we have been looking at, and Police Chief Coffey is very much involved in that. He's involved with the Police Chief of Hazleton also. So just so you know, that will be coming to the city, okay? And I can't tell you when because after the evaluation, I believe we have funding for that. We'll have to look at which system to go with. But it is going to happen.
George, I believe when you were on council, back before you became the mayor,
We can't go back and
you
forth.
moved the camera that they had down there. It was called
Yeah.
Nighthawk or whatever.
Yeah, that was Hawkeye.
back
That
and
was
forth.
put on when Mayor Layton was here. They've all been disconnected. They don't work right now.
Yeah.
We have other camera systems that we've been using, okay? And I'll give you an example. Up at the new, the park where the skateboard park is, okay? We have a new system of cameras there. Up at the bog where we're building a new handicapped special needs park up there, okay? There's new cameras up there now, and the quality is absolutely unbelievable. So we are looking at installing cameras in certain areas, and Kirby Park, okay, which is part of Wilkes-Barre, we installed a new special needs park there and other facilities. We have cameras over there. So the new cameras are absolutely amazing. We're putting them up in certain areas, okay? But the new ones at the bog are just unbelievable. I mean, they zero right in, and we just had graffiti up there this past week, believe it or not, at the bog. We removed it, but 2 people were arrested for actually doing the graffiti. So they were caught by Officer Luco. So we are doing things that people may not be aware of, but we are looking at that system. And what's amazing about the system is it can actually tell you within seconds where the noise was, where it was a gunshot, whether it was fireworks, and determines whether it's been fireworks or actually a gunshot. It's amazing what they're doing. So, sir, we are looking into that, just so you know that, okay?
All right.
And can I address the e-bikes? So Bill and I had discussed this last year, and I did pull some ordinances from some other municipalities, but the e-bikes are definitely more in detail because it's based off of the speed, if they have lights on it, they don't have lights on it. So I'm guessing with spring and summer coming, we'll probably have to look at, something like that again. But we are aware of it. I know myself, I had one, I was going through a stop sign, they just came right out and I almost hit them. So, yes, we are aware it's an issue.
Yeah, I agree. They drive right in the middle of the road, some of these people.
Yeah.
Any comments? Good. Jim, come back up.
Yeah, well, I was just going to add that I called 911 on that. The horse is out of the barn now, so forget it. But other than that, But I'd like to ask the mayor, the project, the Washington Street project. Last week, I think the administrator said everything's going along pretty good. And I'd like to give you a little kudos too for the last administration. You used the money wisely for the infrastructure. And also, so I'd like to say thank you for that. And there was this guy was there. You were a councilman. And
Tony, am I allowed to answer?
Sure. Yeah, are you done, sir?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't want to take over this meeting, but it was a question that you asked me about the Washington Street Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had a meeting last week with the engineer, okay? It's moving along. I'm going to make, I've said this before, it's a federal project. Okay? It's not a city project, it's not a county or a state. It's a federal project and there's guidelines, but we are moving along. And I've actually been speaking to Congressman Brezhnev about it also. His team, I met with his team about this because it is a federal project.
Okay.
Okay, they're on board. So, sir, I'm going to tell you something. I'm doing my best to get that done as soon as possible. If I had the money, and I joke with council about give me $4 million, I'll get it done. You know that, but it's a federal project, so we're doing the best we can. But we are pushing that, and you're going to see that happening, and doing the best we can. But believe me, I want it done as much as you do. It's been 8, 10 years. It's not right.
12.
Okay.
There you go.
Who's counting? Thank you for that. But also, when we had a meeting, we had our police and fire department chiefs explaining that it takes longer to get to the service, the people that call 911.
Right.
So it's a very important project for us. I would say it's probably my #1 project right now. So we're going to do our best.
And I'd like to thank you for the water lines that were put in and paving of the roads. I
Looks
don't know.
nice. And I got the porta potty removed.
What? Oh,
Porta
yeah,
potty.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Great,
You're
thank you. Any other comments from council? Mr. Controller, any comments from you, sir? We're good? Okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks, next council.
We'll see you tomorrow, too.
Yeah.
Nice tie. I got a plain one here. I got something a little fancy.